going on, guys? It's TwoWheelTrigger, and it is Thursday, and I'm headed into Raleigh for some appointments, and figured I'd go ahead and roll the camera. I've got Harley with me on the back of the Pan America. He's in his Kuryakin Grand Titan Pet Palace, whatever it is, dog holder doohickey. And I can feel him moving around back there. I've got the top part closed because he does not have any eye protection yet. Although I have ordered him some goggles, they probably won't be here till end of next week. So I want to make sure he gets, all the protection he can. He doesn't get hurt from anything flying around and getting in his eyes. Took him around yesterday, and he was definitely excited, I think is a good word. He wanted to look all over. He was throwing his head on my shoulder, which was really cool. So I definitely want to make sure that if he's doing all that, he's got some protection on his eyes. So no real good footage of him on the back of this bike, but I promise sooner or later I will have that 360 mounted somewhere better, so that you guys have some views of how he's doing on the back of the bike as we're riding around exploring. But with him on the back of the bike, I do also have a dog crate that I got off of Amazon that folds up, so it is ratcheted down on top of one of the Pan America panniers. So I've got that with me if he needs it. I've got my laptop and backpack. I've got my training bag that has some dog food for him that I can use to reward him, make him work for his food. Yeah, and all his stuff. He is wearing a harness now, so he's got his harness on that says service dog in training and do not pet. It is a one Tigress harness. They sell, I think they just sell on Amazon. I could be wrong. But they're definitely on Amazon, and I've got a few things from that company that have always seemed to be pretty decent. A couple shooting bags, another bag, and then this harness. So the harness fits him fantastic. It's perfect. It's the right size. He can grow into it a little bit. And then because I ordered the wrong size before, I've got one for when he gets a little bit bigger. But yeah, he's wearing his harness in there. He's got his collar and all that stuff. I threw a couple toys in the bag for him to have something to chew on or whatever. He's only ridden in this thing a few times, so he'll have a few things in there that he usually sleeps with that, I don't know, maybe it'll pacify him a little bit. But yeah, we are on the way into Raleigh, so he'll be going in with me to the appointments I need to go to. Usually you would not be able to bring an animal in, but he will be going in with me now. The North Carolina laws on service dogs in training afford a service dog in training the same access rights as a fully trained service dog, with the only caveats being that if they are, and this applies to regular service dogs as well, if they are aggressive and pose a threat to other people, they can be asked to be removed. That's definitely not a problem with him. He's never shown any aggression, and if people do what they're supposed to do, which is do not pet, and ignore him and just stay away, he won't have any problems. But I've noticed that for some reason the population thinks that, because I have a dog, we have a dog. Or because you have a dog, we have a dog. And folks need to get out of that mindset. I love, I want to pet all the dogs too, but it's only if the owner or the handler allows it. I'm in a forum, and I've been reading a lot about service dogs in trainings and service dogs for invisible disabilities and that kind of stuff, and just a bunch of horror stories of people taking their service dogs places, or their service dogs in training, and folks just walking up. And some of these people have their dogs labeled like billboards. All right, they look like a NASCAR sponsored vehicle. They got patches and labels all over these dogs. It's a little busy. But I mean, most of them say working dog, service dog, mental health dog, medical alert dog, do not pet, ignore, do not approach, leave me alone, whatever the patches say or the embroidery says. You know, the big thing there is that folks are not doing it. They're walking up to the dogs anyway, and they're talking to the dogs, and they're trying to pet the dogs. You know, I'm sorry, but I'm putting a lot of training and a lot of time into Harley, and that is for my benefit and my health. That's not for your enjoyment. So consider that. If you're out and about and you see a service dog or you see a working dog, definitely leave it alone. Ignore it. You can smile at the handler, but leave the dog alone. And hell, if you're out and about and you see another dog and it's not labeled, nothing says the dog has to be labeled to be considered a service dog. So leave it alone. Because I'm telling you now, if you come at my dog when he's labeled do not pet and he shows any aggression, you are messing with his training, and I might mess with you. So just keep that in mind. But he is on the back of the bike, and we are having a good time riding. The weather today is going to be like almost 80 degrees, so of course we had to ride the bike to do this stuff, as if there was any other alternative. I took the Pan America because it's more quiet. I would have loved to be on the Road Glide today, but the Road Glide is much louder, and I really want to make sure I ease him into that. He was fine when we did some training in the garage. I had the bikes running. He had no problems listening to me while the bikes were running. He wasn't scared. I was feeding him, making him sit down, all that good stuff, literally right by the exhaust and by the motor. So I think he would do fine on that bike. It's just really, I think it's just my thing that I think it's kind of loud and maybe an issue for him or whatever. But depending on how he does today on this thing, maybe we take it tomorrow. I am off work on Friday, and I'm going somewhere. I don't know where I'm going. My favorite rum distillery, which is Outer Banks Distilling out in Manteo, North Carolina. They make Kill Devil rum. They have some winter soul spice rum. It's spiced rum that I like. It usually comes out around my birthday. This year I was not able to get down there. So I assumed that they were long sold out, and they posted yesterday that they still had some bottles. And so I'm debating, and I'd love to go get that because I can't ever find it at the ABC stores around me. Do I go down there and pick that up and just spend my Friday running out to Manteo and doing that and coming back and sleeping at home? Or what I kind of wanted to do was ride south to Charleston area and kind of explore Charleston, stop at a couple Harley Davidson dealerships that are down there that I've never been to, get a poker chip for my little collection. So do I do that and miss out on the rum? Or do I do some weird concoction of go to the Outer Banks, get the rum, take the rum with me, head south, stop maybe somewhere around Myrtle Beach for the night, and then come back on Saturday from Myrtle Beach? I don't really have any desire to go to Myrtle Beach because I don't really like it. It's kind of dirty. But also, if I ride from Manteo, the place opens at noon, so by the time I get out of there, it's going to be 12:30 probably. It's like a 9 or 10 hour ride from there to Charleston. I mean, I don't want to be pulling in at midnight after riding on the highway. I'd rather take the back roads. If I take the back roads from my house, it's about a 6, maybe 7 hour ride on the back roads, and I can leave earlier. I can leave like 7, maybe 8 o'clock in the morning, you know, and get there at a reasonable time, have time to, you know, stretch my legs, do whatever, maybe, you know, find a good place to eat, a brewery or something like that I've never been to. So I'm conflicted. I don't know what this weekend will hold, but regardless, I'm sure this camera will be there and we'll be rolling. Considering if he does well on this bike, taking the Road Glide for that trip. This one is very comfortable. This is fun. People don't recognize what this is immediately, and they're like, is that a Harley? Yes, it is. But that Road Glide is sick, and I love it. Our club actually has a thing on Saturday, so it'd be good to be there and see everybody in the chapter and, you know, have our meeting and eat with everybody, but I've got to get out of town. I've been working 19 days straight with work and with teaching classes, and I almost tried to grab 7th gear. There is no 7th gear. Yeah, it's been crazy. Work has been absolutely nuts. The whole Change Healthcare cyber attack that happened in February 2024 has really made work difficult. On top of it making work difficult, I've had Harley that I've been working with during that same time, so I've got to build in breaks to run downstairs and take him out and figure out what works best for me with feeding and training him, because I want to make sure, you know, he needs to be fed regularly at his regular times, and I try to train around those times, but I've got to make sure that I have time in my schedule to do those things. And he's been doing really good. We pretty much go outside, do our business, come inside, train, go back outside for a few minutes to see if we need to do any more business, and then we come inside and we go in the kennel. He won't be in the kennel when he's older, but right now he's not housebroken, and I can't watch him 24 hours like a hawk because I've got work to do. So with him being in the kennel, he sleeps, which puppies need a lot of sleep, but he sleeps and he gets a lot of playtime with me. We go on walks throughout the day to burn off some of that energy. We do some scatter feeding that my trainer told me to do. That stimulates his mind. We play, that stimulates his mind. We're training, that stimulates his mind. So I feel like he's getting what he needs and I'm getting what I need. But, you know, all that being said, I've got to figure out what I'm going to be doing this weekend, where I'm going. I am definitely a planner. I don't like just waking up and going with the flow and seeing how things vibe. That's just not me. You know, whether it's a strength or a weakness, it is what I am. And so I kind of have to plan these things out. So not knowing where I'm going this weekend is creating some anxiety. Having a dog on the back of the motorcycle is creating some anxiety because, you know, I want to make sure that everything I'm doing doesn't scare him or create any kind of fear response. I'm headed into Raleigh. This is going to be the first time ever that I am going somewhere with him actually labeled as a service dog in training. And I grew up with, my mother was disabled. She had a physical handicap. I know how people are in public. Everybody stares. You know, whatever the reason is for people staring, I don't necessarily know if it's a genuine interest or just being freaking nosy. I don't know. But I know how that plays a toll on people, and I'm already dealing with some anxiety, so, you know, it's going to be the first time that he's labeled and he's out with me in public. So I got that little bit of anxiety. Some anxieties around my family, some anxieties around work, some anxieties around finance, around home life, around club life. Like, there's just, there is no shortage of anxiety in my life right now. For what, you know, I've been staying up later to take him out and let him use the bathroom. That way he sleeps a little bit later, but because of that, I'm waking up in the morning at like 7 a.m. exhausted, whereas I used to wake up at like 4:30 a.m. prepared for the gym, went to the gym, worked out. So I haven't been able to work out in a week or probably about a week, maybe a week and a half. So I'm sure that's playing on me. But, you know, motorcycling for me is a form of therapy. I've said it a million times. So I noticed when I was starting off this ride and just kind of thinking, what am I feeling? What am I experiencing with him on the back? Does he seem like he's freaking out? Does he seem like he's settling in? Is he just playing back there? What am I feeling? I go through an area that's pretty much a dead zone where I don't have any music. So the music cuts out and I was just alone in my thoughts. And I didn't have any. Like the only thought that was in my head was, I don't have any thoughts. And so that little bit of calm helped a bit. And so that's what I get out of this. You know, I can't thank everybody that's subscribed. I think we have, at this point in time, 81 subscribers, which is not a lot, right? That's not a lot. That seems like a lot to me, because that means 81 people have found some kind of value so far in the 10 videos that I've posted of me just riding and talking. That means a lot. I've had some comments with people reaching out saying, you know, they thought that they were alone feeling that way, and it was, you know, a form of therapy. It was good for them to hear that other people, you know, struggle with these types of things, and find some solace in motorcycles. So, you know, I'm thankful that me sharing my thoughts as I ride is helping other folks. But, you know, I also asked, what do you guys want to see? And some really good feedback I got was, do whatever you want, because if you start doing what people want, you're not going to enjoy it as much anymore. And that was some solid advice. So I'm just going to do whatever the heck I feel like. Right now it's running my mouth and running this motorcycle, and you know, this weekend I'll do some riding and some videoing, and you know, maybe next week I decide I want to do a review on, you know, my new climb boots, which are awesome. You know, maybe it's this rock form mount that I want to talk about. Who knows? So I appreciate everyone that's commented, that's liked, that's subscribed, all that good stuff, that's shared the videos. Even if, you know, you're not logged in and you're watching, I appreciate you guys. So I'm coming into Raleigh. I'm about to cross over the Neuse River. The Neuse River is pretty big, pretty long. Runs from around, there's a trail that lines it, and that trail runs from around the WRAL sports soccer complex and goes all the way into Johnston County. And I've ridden a good chunk of that on both a one-wheel with my son, as well as on a bike with my son, and then a little bit longer on a road bike by myself, which I have since sold because I got really tired of road biking. And it also sucks to have to come to Raleigh to do it safely, but it's a nice little trail. I guess you would call it a greenway. So you guys have seen this road a few times. This is kind of my back road way of coming into Raleigh. If I need to hit the northern part of Raleigh. I do have another route I'll take if I'm going the southern route, if I need to go to southern Raleigh. But this one's pretty good. You know, it's 2 lanes, very little traffic for a good 20 minutes. Then it gets into like a 2-lane for a few minutes, then back to 4-lane. Then it goes back to a 2-lane, and then we get into Raleigh, and it's, you know, 6 lanes here and cars everywhere. But fortunately, I don't really hear of a lot of accidents up here, so I feel pretty safe. It seems like there's enough of a median and breaks in the median and pull-offs that I could get away if I needed to. And I usually try to stick to one of the perimeters, you know, out here, because I can dip over to that median or over there, because, you know, there's like the gas station entrance right there if I need to get out of the way. I will ride in the middle lane, but if traffic's cooperating, I'd rather be on one of the outsides. There's also a lot of Teslas out here. I don't know, I like the idea of not having to spend money on fuel, and I like how the Model S and the Model X look. The model budget over here, the Model 3, it's not a bad car. It's just, I don't know, it doesn't do it for me. I love the idea of the technology that it has. You know, self-driving is cool, but now they've got that in, you know, some of these $100,000 trucks will drive themselves. I like the idea of the summon feature, right? Like, it's got some cool technology, but at the expense of any kind of style. Like, there's the Model Y. Like, there's 4 vehicles. The only thing you've really got that's different is some color. And there's some people that lower them. There's some people that change the wheels out. But at the end of the day, there's not a whole lot you can do with them. And every person I ever see in one looks like they are bored out of their mind. I never see somebody driving a Tesla that's smiling. I don't know what it is. I'm sure people enjoy them. I'm sure people love driving them. But at least when I'm riding, it doesn't look like they do. Now, the Rivian seems kind of cool. I like that. But I'm not an adopter of this whole electric car thing yet. I don't think it's really benefiting people as much as they think it is. It's certainly not benefiting the environment as much, I don't believe. I know we need to get away from fossil fuels, but solar technology, you know, wind turbine technology, that's not there yet. Hydroelectric, I don't believe is there yet. So, yeah, just a lot of mess that has to be bolstered before it's really viable for the mainstream. And I just like an internal combustion engine because it's cool revving the engine. Yeah. I've revved a weed eater before, but it's not the same effect. Although this bike sounds like a weed eater, but it's a quiet weed eater, and I like that for when I have the dog with me or when I'm, you know, out here and lost in my thoughts. And the more I say all this stuff, the more I'm thinking I want to take the road glide tomorrow, just for a change of pace. I've done a bunch of videos on these on the Pan Am, and I do feel like I need to probably... Are you gonna let me over? Thank you, sir. You're not, though. Okay, and this idiot's gonna stop. Okay. Alright, well, that's a really tough merge to go from far left all the way to far right on Capitol Boulevard, but that is okay, because I still have an hour before I technically need to be where I'm going. But yeah, I'm thinking it might be the move to take the road glide tomorrow. It burns a little more gas than this one does, but it's also a lot of fun. Stage 4 road glide, Chromeworks exhaust, Baja LP6s for the headlights, got the custom dynamics lights on it and underglow, and just a lot of fun. 12-inch bars, CarPlay, good stuff. I'll tell you, it's getting a little toasty. All the gear all the time, right folks? All the gear all the time. Alright, let's get our air conditioning back on. It's a nice car. Man, it's always an Altima passing, folks. What in the world? At least that one had a bumper. Well, guys, there is about nothing that is going to be enjoyable about the rest of this ride, because it's going to be like this. Race to the next light. That is ugly as hell. Anyway. So, I think I'm going to let you guys go. Finish out my ride. Oh my God, people, go. This is TwoWheelTrigger, and if you ride, keep the rubber on the road. See you guys.